Say that one more time. You broke up. I'm sorry.
I said I'm doing good, man. I just got through teaching all my classes at my little gym, and now I'm going to give me a little bite to eat.
Heck yeah, man. So are you a primary instructor at your gym, or are you just doing that on the side right now while you're not training?
Man, I try to coach there as much as possible. It's not really, it's going pretty good. It's not quite enough to stop doing work and shit like that. So,
Sure.
whenever the bills get tight, I go hit a little shutdown, make a little bit of money, and, get a fight lined up. Then, it's full on training camp. But even when I'm training, I do most of my training during the day, and I go up there and I teach my classes at night. But, I think the gym, where it's at, we're in a little small town, so I think it's kind of going to be like a seasonal thing. Like when we first opened up, it was right around New Year's, and it was great. Business was great. We had 60 members within a matter of a couple of days. Well, then we kind of stayed right around there. We would go get a few members, we'd lose a few members, get a few, lose a few, and it wasn't looking all that great for a while. I didn't think that business was ever going to pick back up. Well, then everybody's out for summer. We lost a bunch of people. Summer's back. School gets back in, and then it's like, man, my kids' classes just went through the roof, and I'm getting more and more women coming into the kickboxing classes and stuff like that. So I went from like a week ago when we had like, I don't know, maybe 10 kids in the class to over 20 now, and it seems like I hope it'll stay like that. But you never know. If I get them for the school year and lose them every summer, that's no big deal. As long as they come back when the school year starts back up.
Heck yeah, keeping consistent for sure. But I'm sorry, we didn't really get to do a formal introduction for you on our podcast. But you are a 20-6 MMA record. Am I correct me if I'm wrong?
Yeah, you're right.
I am. Yeah. Okay. I did my homework, my friend. So, are you brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Brown belt in Jiu-Jitsu under Diego and Daniel Marias. My main instructor is a guy named Mike Sanford, but he's under Diego and Daniel Marias. But I got my brown belt from actually Mike Sanford, but I guess you could say I'm under Diego and Daniel.
Okay, so I don't know. I don't know who is Alan Belcher.
Oh yeah, of course. I'm under Alan Belcher as well. I'm sorry. Alan Belcher is one of my coaches as well.
This is what's on Wikipedia, man. I don't know how.
The gym I train at is Alan Belcher MMA. I've been with Alan since I was like 15, and he's helped me tremendously throughout my life. In and out of the fighting, in and out of the gym. Alan's always been there. He's like a big brother to me. But for the last few years, my head instructor has been Mike Sanford, like as far as jiu-jitsu goes.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So a few questions for you, real quick. So just referencing your last fight in bare knuckle, correct me if I'm wrong, was against Artem, right?
Yes, sir. That's the only one I've had with bare knuckle so far. But we went out there and put on a good enough show that now.
How long was the healing process for that, dude? You guys look like straight out of a horror movie, man.
Honestly, it really wasn't that bad. It was all just superficial cuts. All the cuts around my eyes, they were healed within like a week. All the swelling went down. All the cuts were gone. And I think it was maybe 10 days I took all the stitches out of my face. But I had a very bad one right here. Like my lip got split. I had one right here in the corner of my mouth, one right here, one right here, one right here. And all of those, my teeth that went through my lips. And man, them bitches took forever. I had stitches on the inside and outside. And it was like I could barely open my mouth. I could barely open my mouth without ripping them back open. So that was the hard part was, trying not to rip the stitches back open before they healed.
A lot of mac and cheese and milkshakes, I'm assuming, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, man, so I always wondered, I've been watching the bare knuckle stuff since it started, and we've, been MMA fans all our lives, and I've always wondered, how do you really train, as far as like sparring goes? Do you train bare knuckle? Do you train with gloves? Like, what does a training camp look like for a bout for bare knuckle?
For me, all I did, I switched it up from MMA to just strictly boxing. I went, I got a buddy who I see him as, one of the best boxers that I know. Hey, damn dog. But,
hey, you're too close.
I got a buddy, man. He was one of the best boxers that I know. His name's Blake Stingley. You could probably go look him up, and he doesn't even really have a record. But the man has got some hands, and he's done started coaching, younger guys, and most of his guys are amateurs. And I went over there a couple of times, and I really liked the way that he was coaching. We was training right there in his backyard. He's got a boxing ring in his backyard. He's got a little small shed out there with a punching bag hung up. And I went there and I trained with him 99.9% of the time. We just put on 18-ounce boxing gloves instead of 16-ounce, just trying to make my hands faster. I've been in plenty of bare knuckle fights that I knew, like, especially my right hand is jacked up always. So I knew I was going to hurt it during the fight. I knew that if I don't break it, then it's just going to hurt like hell, but I'm still going to throw it anyways. That's just me. I don't care if I break it in 3 pieces. We're still going to punch him with that nub. And that's just kind of how it was. We went over there, we trained in his backyard. When I went to go to spar on the weekends, I would go to this little boxing gym called Hope Boxing over there in Mobile, Alabama. I would go over there, spar with those guys on Friday nights, and then on Saturday mornings at Allen Belcher MMA, everybody spars down there. I would go down there while they're doing their MMA sparring, and I'd be like, hey, man, you care to do a couple of boxing rounds with me? And I would just get as many boxing rounds in as I could. And I sparred so fucking much getting ready for that. But, 2-minute rounds, I thought for sure that, 2-minute rounds are going to be better than 5-minute rounds. I thought it was going to be easier. But, man, whenever you're trying to keep up with some of these guys who are smaller than you and faster than you, and you gotta throw 100 punches around, it's hard, man. And at first, it was a big adjustment because, I'm used to, if I start getting tired standing up, I take you down and I lay on you and rest for a minute, or I throw you in a submission and I win. It's over. But there's no resting, and especially in bare knuckle, you gotta fucking go.
Yeah. So when it comes to like your something that I've noticed that they've been breaking up a lot of the dirty boxing in the clinch as far as like during the fight. Is that something that you've noticed as well?
I don't know. I haven't really paid any attention to I didn't watch the last card. I went and watched the BKFC 6 where Artem fought Polly. And I didn't really see a whole lot of them, going for the single collar tie. But as far as like, if you grab that clinch with a single collar, as long as you're punching, it's allowed. You can hold that collar as long as you want to and punch the shit out of them. And I did that a lot to Artem. But if you're just sitting there stalling by clinching, by grabbing somebody, then of course they're going to stop it right off the bat as quick as possible. As soon as they see that you're trying to take a break.
Yeah, maintaining active while you're in the clinch. That's what keeps it from being broken apart.
Yeah, as long as you're active, they'll let you do the clinch, but you can't grab with 2 hands. It's got to be the 1 hand single collar.
Okay. Yeah, it's good that you were able to clarify that, because we were like, it just seemed like, for being a different sport than just boxing, you have the dynamic of being able to be in the clinch and, be able to throw strikes in the clinch, and it just seems like the amount of time that they, let fighters, grab the single collar and be able to throw strikes is it's a varied amount of time. Is there no set time or anything like that? Or is it just like the refs, interpretation?
I think just the refs. I think it's more of the refs call. Luckily, in my fight, I had a pretty good ref. He let me stay in there for a good while, but I think it was. I think it more or less depends on if you're both sitting there willing to trade inside that single collar. If you're both trading and it looks exciting, looks like action, they're gonna stop it. I mean, they're gonna let it go. But if one guy grabs the clinch, the other one bear hugs him or some shit, they're gonna stop it right then every time.
Okay, awesome, man.
Yeah, so I don't think they really give a. I don't think they really give a shit as long as it's fun to watch.
And it definitely is, dude. Like it's like every single fight, man. It's not like not to downplay MMA in any way, but there's sometimes, a UFC fight card where it's like the undercards are like, holy shit, I'm falling asleep, man. Like when did the main card fight start? You know what I'm saying? It's like, but the bare knuckle stuff, you watch the entire card. Every single fight is a freaking, impressive as hell. These guys are just going out. Every single one of them, it's like it's the last time they're going to be able to go into the ring every time. It's insane, man. It's super entertaining, and I hope, I really can't wait to see how much bigger it gets. Like, I really can't wait to see you become like a superstar, man, because you do have that personality, you have the mentality, like you're the bare knuckle Diaz, you know what I'm saying? You have that, that grit about you, and you have that, that the talk with the walk, man. Like it's great. It's very authentic. So
yeah, but I think that that kind of plays back as I fought a lot as a kid, man. I didn't start with the MMA. I started MMA at 14, but before I turned 14, man, I was in a lot of fucking street fights as a kid. Because if you go back, you look up a picture of me at 14, I was a scrawny little fucker. I was like 140 pounds, soaking ass wet. I looked like a worm with the shit slung out of me or something. But my big brother, he's like 300 pounds now, but all my life he was 185, 200, 205. And this big bastard just beat the shit out of me, as long as I can remember, from the time I could walk. He was making me tough. He was making sure that I wasn't going to get picked on. And I was always a smaller guy, so there was always going to be somebody to try the little guy, somebody that's going to try to pick on somebody smaller than them. And I was never, ever once going to be the guy who got picked on. You might whoop my ass, but we're going to find out whether or not you can do it for sure. And then, when I got in there with Artem, man, it took me back to 8th grade. I can't lie to you. I was able to just go to town and have some fun, man. I had a blast. And I've told a few people this, but I don't know why. Go ahead.
Did you and Artem party after the fight? Did you guys drink together at all?
The plan was that we was gonna party together, but he never did go. I don't think he ever went out and did anything. I drank a little bit, man, but my damn mouth was so cut up. I wanted Patron, but Patron tasted like fire that night.
Oh shit! Yeah, I bet it was falling out of your fucking mouth too, because you got so many fucking holes.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey
man, go ahead.
No, I don't mean to interrupt you. Go with what you were saying. I got my shit written down.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, I've only told a few people this, but somewhere along the way, MMA. By the time I got to UFC, at first it was all fun. It was all having a blast. It wasn't so much about a career and making money and having to pay bills and all this bullshit. I didn't really need fighting to pay my bills. I had outside jobs or whatever. And somewhere along the line, it got to where I lost my love for MMA. It wasn't fun to me anymore. Well, when I got in there and I fucking threw down bare knuckle, man, I fell in love with it, and it's fun to me. I know that no matter what, win or lose, I'm gonna go out here and I'm just gonna get down with somebody that can't take me down and lay on me. And I've got really good jiu-jitsu, but MMA wrestling is taking over. Wrestling's taking over MMA, and if you don't want to work really, really fucking hard on your wrestling, then you're getting left behind. And
you don't think jiu-jitsu can be dominant at all in UFC anymore? You don't
what
think
now?
you think the GSPs are gone in the UFC?
Not necessarily, man. I think that GSP, he's a different breed. That guy, he's got the wrestling, he's got the jiu-jitsu and everything. But I mean, jiu-jitsu can definitely be dominant if you got a guy who's there to play jiu-jitsu with you. But if you have some guy who's going to take you down and fucking hug you and lay and pray until the referee stands it back up, and then you stand back up, you throw a few punches, he takes you down and hugs you some more, and they're not counting the fact that you might be on your back, but you're throwing elbows from the bottom, you're throwing punches from the bottom, all while this guy's got his head in your belly button. They don't pay any attention to those strikes. They don't pay any attention to that. All they see, this man's on top. He's winning. I think that if you get some judges into MMA, into UFC that actually know what the fuck they're looking at, then yeah, I would love to go back to MMA. I'd love to go back to UFC. But we got fucking dentists and lawyers and shit like that judging the fights, and there's no reason for that, Guys that's never been in a fight in their fucking life, they're on the sidelines judging.
Do you think a lockout would be beneficial for MMA fighters?
Say that one more time.
Do you think a lockout, like what they did with the NBA and the NHL a couple of years back, would be beneficial for MMA fighters? For them to be able to get, fair representation and all that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, what they need to do, in my opinion, I think they need to fire every fucking judge that they got and make them go through some type of training, like some type of classes to actually qualify them to see what's going on. If you have a guy on his back throwing up 15 submission attempts, and you got a guy who's laying on top of him and fucking never throwing a punch that could bust a grape, but they're still giving that guy a win. I just think that they should count the submission attempts. They should count the fact that I'm on the bottom and I'm controlling this guy. Even though I'm on the bottom, he can't do anything that he wants, because if he tries to raise up and punch me, then I'm going to throw up a submission. They should count that type of shit, but they don't.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. So now that we're kind of getting a little bit deeper into MMA and also bare knuckle, I don't know if it's your publicist or the individual that got us in contact mentioned that you have your own promotion that you're starting up, EmpireFC.
Yeah, man. Me and a couple buddies and my big brother, we started up our own promotion. It's called EmpireFC, and we do it a little different than most people. We've got some combat jiu-jitsu matches, some jiu-jitsu super fights, some MMA fights. This month, August the 31st, it's called Ladies of War. It's the first all women's card down here on the coast, and it's gonna be awesome. Now we got some of the best women, some of the best kids around. Some of the best little girls, some of the best women around, and they're fixing to go to fucking war, man. And it's gonna be awesome. I don't know if you've ever watched women fight, but they bring some intensity. And some of the times, like when I'm watching a UFC card or watching a regular MMA card, I would rather watch the women than the men. They come in here like they're pissed off at each other, they're hormonal as fuck, and they really want to hurt each other. So I love watching that. But now we got a card that's nothing but women, so it's a must-see show.
Hey, are you guys televising that? Is it local? Are you televising that locally, or is it just a ticket for being able to view? You gonna Facebook Live it?
I think it's gonna be Facebook Live. I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty positive we're gonna do Facebook Live for this one. We had done one fight where I went on there and I did a combat jiu-jitsu match, and Fight TV reached out to us, and we did decent with that. But I feel like with the Facebook Live, we're able to grow our followers. We're able to spread out wider, get more people to do it, to pay attention to it, because the way the pay-per-view is working nowadays is one person buys a pay-per-view and then the rest of the world gets to watch it anyways because some guy's standing there with his phone like this at the TV and going Facebook Live with it anyways. So, I think, from now on, what we're probably going to do for a little while at least is do the Facebook Live and see how that goes.
Yeah, and I mean, make it, and this is just, me speaking from my own experience, man. We, don't have much, but, take it for what it is. You could also make, promotion, if you do buy the, first promotion, you get the next, the next fight 15 or 25% off when you buy it or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Make an incentive for them to want to come back and, continue to buy it, and support you. Because at the end of the day, if you're the face of Empire and you and your brother and your buddies are the face, you can use that, man, because your name is everywhere now. You're the face of Bare Knuckle, and that's a great thing to be.
I am Bare Knuckle.
Hell yeah, bro. Hey, man. I'm not trying to downplay Artem or Paulie or all these guys that have made a lot of hype as far as the publicity goes for Bare Knuckle, but when it comes to the face of the game, you're it, dude. You're the one that's going to continue to be fighting in these brawling bloodbath matches after these guys have already come and gone and made their money and left. You know what I'm saying? You're the true representation of what Bare Knuckle is.
Yeah, man. The way I look at it, they're kind of downplaying my name because I'm where I'm from. I don't have Conor McGregor in my corner. I don't have Conor McGregor as my teammate, and I don't have 3 boxing titles or whatever. So they're not really disrespecting me or anything. But at first they didn't really give me the respect that I deserved. But I went out there, I put on a show, and now I'm gonna get my respect. There's no option behind it. Every time.
Better show, man. Them downplaying, making you sound like you were, like you were just some scrappy dude that was coming to fight Artem or whatever. That made your story 10 times better now because you showed up and you showed Artem that this ain't no freaking sparring match or just freaking willy-nilly boxing here. You know what I'm saying? This is the real deal shit, and he came to play and you showed him to, and that was a great debut. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I think it's going to be great for the future of Bare Knuckle for you to be calling more dudes out, man. You need to start getting loudmouthed and start getting on Ariel Helwani show and calling people out, man.
Yeah, the way I look at it, man, is you got Artem, who hell yeah, he put on a good ass fight that night. He fought hard. But he fought that way because I made him fight that way. He had no other option. It's either fight as hard as you can or fucking die. I was out to kill him. I was trying to beat him until he was unconscious. And he had to fight just as hard or that's exactly what was going to happen, and the next fight you seen with him and Paulie, he didn't fight nowhere near as intense, nowhere near as hard. That's because Paulie, he didn't have to. If I would have fought Paulie, I'm telling you, I would have went in there just as fucking hard. I would have went just as intense as I did the first time, and that's how it's gonna be. I'm planning on fighting hopefully in November for Bare Knuckle. The next time they come back to Biloxi, I will be on the card. I was supposed to fight August the 10th, but I had a rib injury that made me pull out. But man, I've been itching to get back in there, and I started my training camp this morning. Go ahead.
Bedford?
No, man, I'm hoping that they'll give me Artem, but I'm not real sure. I don't think they're gonna give me Johnny Bedford. I might fight him in the parking lot after the fights. But
hey man, we're excited for you either way to come back, man. Like you're excited to watch, and like you said, you bring that intensity every time. So it's always a pleasure to purchase the bare knuckle main event to see you tear some motherfuckers up.
Yeah, man. The way I look at it, they've been feeding Johnny Bedford cans, feeding him guys that really don't have the heart to fight with him. He's a decent fighter, and he's got really good skills. Don't get me wrong, he does, but I don't think he has that grit. I don't think that he fucking has what I got in me, and I don't think he can take what I'm fixing to dish it out. And I don't think that anybody with bare knuckle thinks that he can take it either. Whenever I said something about it, that was like, oh fuck no, we don't want Johnny to get beat up. And that's just the way I see it. I don't think that they're ever gonna book that fight because, of course, he's got good boxing skill, like I said, but he's done run his mouth. And the first chance I get, I'm beating his ass. If I told him on Instagram, I said, look, man, cause see, what was fucked up is like when we was in Tampa, I went over there to Tampa to watch Artem fight, to go support Artem because fucking I like the guy. I didn't think I would, but whenever I met him in person, one of the coolest people I've ever fought, one of the coolest people I've ever met. He's a great guy. And I went over there to watch him and support him and, of course, get my face out there a little bit more. But after Johnny Bedford fought that night, he come up to me and we had like a fucking hour and a half, 2 hour conversation. He acted like he was my best friend. And then at the Biloxi card the other night, he goes up to my buddy Vince and he's calling me out. Then he gets on Instagram and shit, calling me, Jim Allers, and Artem Lobov out, saying he's gonna beat everybody, stand them up, they all fall, blah blah blah. And then we got a little heated, started talking shit back and forth. So I'm the type of person, I'm gonna beat your ass when I get the chance. But I told him the other day, I told him on Instagram, I said, next time you see me, either go the other way or be prepared to fucking meet me outside in the parking lot. And I mean, that's just the way it is. If he comes up and he starts acting crazy, I'm busting his ass up.
Yeah, bro. Hey, man. I think it's great. That's a great setup, man. I think it'd be great for you to fight Artem again, and because he's got a fight. Bedford's got a fight lined up here in September, doesn't he?
I'm not real sure when he's supposed to fight, but I think Bedford, honestly, skill wise, Bedford's a tougher test than Artem is. Like going out there and trying to match his skill. But he is nowhere near as tough as Artem is. He's not gonna take what Artem took. He's not gonna dish out what Artem dished out. He's not gonna hit as hard. He's not gonna be able to eat them punches. But he thinks he can, so we're gonna find out.
You put as many fights in Artem's arsenal in bare knuckle as Bedford. Do you think Artem's a top tier bare knuckle fighter? Do you think he'll stick around for a little bit?
Not really, man. I honestly, really, the thing that happened for me, I went out there, I threw a little punch right at the beginning. Artem slipped it, hit me with a decent little combination, and then I was like, oh fuck. And then I lost all train of thought. I quit boxing. I quit trying to work on my skill, and I went back to 8th grade and started fucking going to war. And I got a whole lot more skill than I showed that night. I have so much more skill than I showed, and that's what Johnny Bedford's missing. Johnny Bedford's seen me fight Artem, and he thinks that I have no skill. I'm just gonna come in there and try to street fight with him. And I mean, if it gets to that, if it gets down to the nitty gritty, then fucking I'll go to war and just bang it out. And if that's what we need to do, that's what we'll do. But I'm gonna show him a whole lot more skill than what he's ready for.
And I think that's going to be greater just to build your story even more, man. Because like they're building him to make him seem like he's unstoppable as far as like the promos go and everything like that. But he's not. He just needs to be popped in the mouth by somebody who will pop him in the mouth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're talking about Johnny Bedford.
Yeah,
he's fought fucking 135ers, all right? He wants to move up to 145. That's cool. Come on up here. But I feel like he's too light in the ass. And honestly, everybody that he's fought, if you go back and you watch them, you see fear in their eyes, like almost immediately. You see these guys that have no fucking heart. He has not fought somebody who's going to fight him the way that I am. He hasn't fought anybody who's as hungry as I am. He hasn't fought anybody who has the heart that I got. You know what I'm saying? You can shoot me in the fucking leg and keep coming. I'm going to keep coming, you know. I don't care. That's just the way that I am. I don't know. There's some people who's born with it, some people that weren't. The 4 people that he fought in bare knuckle, they were not born with that heart.
You get that from training for such a long time as a little kid, or do you think that's just from the amount of street fights that you were in from being a little kid?
Like I said before, man. I think it's something you're born with. You know, I've seen a lot of guys who are really, really good mixed martial artists, and you know they'll go out there and they'll whoop a lot of people's asses. But the first time you put them in a bad spot, you see where their heart's at. You find out whether or not they fucking really want to be there. Now, I'm the type of guy who I don't care if you've got me in a chokehold and you're fisting to put me to sleep. I'm gonna fight with every ounce of everything I have in me to get out until I'm fucking waking up. You know, that's just how I am. And you know, you only have a fucking handful of those guys in this world that are left out there.
They're separated from being a competition and, you know, life and death, you know. That's the people that separate the ones that, you know, live that freaking ruthless, you know, brawler life, man.
I can't really separate it, you know. In there it's life or death, you know. That's for me. Like it's win or die, you know, and that's it. I'm gonna pour every bit of everything out every single time. I'm gonna give it all that I have, and if everything that I have, if that's not enough that night, then so fucking be it. I don't care. I gave it my best shot. You know, you see some of these guys that lose, and then oh man, poor pitiful me for fucking 6 months. I'm not that guy. Never have been. Never will be. If I lose, I'm over it 3 minutes later. You know, I might be like, fuck, man, that sucks. And 3 minutes later, hey, you want to drink a beer? No, I don't care. You know, it's part of it. You know, you're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some. But as long as you fucking keep on getting back up and keep on going, you're gonna have another day. You're gonna have another chance. And I don't. You know, that's just the way I look at it.
Well, yeah, man, that's a good way to look at it. Speaking of like just the way your mentality is, I have a question for you. Who's your like inspiration as far as like fighters go growing up? Like, did you have any martial artists or boxers or anybody that you grew up as, you know, having as an idol?
Forrest Griffin, Chuck Liddell. Let me see, Randy Couture, GSP. And like, I'm so back a whole decade, dude. Like I don't even watch MMA anymore. You know, I don't give a shit about John Jones or none of them guys. Like, yeah, they're great, but you know, they don't have that grit that you used to have. You don't have that anymore in MMA, hardly ever.
Man, like you took inspiration from the OGs, man. Like those are the guys.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I left out Uriah Faber, Nick and Nate. Like, man, I left out some gangsters, man. Dan Henderson, man. Like, I'm everybody. Donald Cerrone, fucking all of them, man. Like, go back to WEC days, the early UFC days. I get my inspiration from those guys. The one Don Fry's ass, just fucking him and that Japanese guy who beat each other's faces to pulp. That's the type of stuff that the fight with me in Autumn. I still do not agree that I lost that fight. If you go back and you give me the knockdown that they counted as a slip in the first round, I won the first round. And they counted one of his knockdowns, or counted one of my slips as a knockdown for him. something like that. It doesn't matter. But if you go back, watch the fight, and you fucking pay attention, I won the first round. I won the third round all fucking day long. I'm sorry. I won the first round. I won 3 out of 5. I for some reason I'm thinking it's 3 rounds, but I won 3 out of 5 in my opinion all day long. Which it was a very fucking close fight. They already had Paulie booked up. They was already ready to set that fight. Business wise, it was a close enough fight that they could give the fight to him and nobody really be all that mad. So I'm not mad at anybody. That was a smart move for the business. But I still felt like I won that fight. So I knew in the beginning, I knew straight up, they already looking past me. They want to book the Paulie Artem fight. I knew that I cannot let this go to a decision. Well, I made the mistake. The first 2 rounds, I started off a little slow. And I should have been fucking guns blazing from the word go. As soon as he said knuckle up, I should have fucking give it all I had from the beginning to the end. Well, man, I'm telling you, I'm going to train harder this time. I'm going to smoke less. I'm going to do a whole lot better than what I did last time. And I promise you, I'm going to sharpen my skills. I'm going to run harder. I'm going to fucking do everything better. And I'm going to beat that man to sleep this time. If he doesn't go to sleep, he's going to quit before the 5th round. I promise you.
So Artem's what you want for November then, I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah, of course. That's what I want. But is that what they're going to give me? Probably not. I imagine that they're going to, keep on throwing him some fucking chumps like Paulie and try to build his name up some more. And then, try to get me to fight a couple guys and build up the rematch and make all this hype go around, blah, blah, blah. If you want to hype up that fight, throw in a couple first fight. Throw in a couple pictures of the first fight.
Or just beef up one card, man. Like that's what people want. They just want beefy fucking cards. And if because Paulie got, I'm sorry, but Paulie got embarrassed, and Artem and you as a rematch is the fight right now for bare knuckle. As far as I'm concerned, when it comes to being a fan, like I want to see that shit. You motherfuckers,
yeah,
you guys are like the talk of the talk of the town when it comes to bare knuckle, and that's what I think is what's gonna make both of you guys rich as fuck when it comes to pay-per-view, because I want to see that. It's what everybody's talking about on social media. Like, people are making memes about your guys' rivalry. Like, I think it needs traction, man. And I think that the more you talk about it and the more you promote it, and we can promote it. Just anything we can do to help, man. I want to make it happen. Anything we can do to help.
Sure. All you gotta do is send me a contract with his name on it. You best believe I'm gonna sign that bitch. Is Artem gonna do the same? I'm not sure. I hope he does. I hope that he's willing to fight again. He told me in Tampa, he said, Jason, man, I want to give you your rematch. He said, but this time we're gonna make these motherfuckers pay us. I'm down with that. I mean, like
get people talking, man. We need to get some people talking. So, like, any connections that we have out here in Colorado, like as far as MMA promotion or anything like that, like I have guys that that are working in dispensaries and anything like that. So we can put your name out here in Colorado too, as far as our podcast goes. We're more.
Man, I quit smoking bud, a couple months ago. So if you got any connections with guys that's got the CBD juice, send them on. Tell them I need some sponsors.
Our podcast is sponsored by a dispensary out here called New View Pharma. I'll send you the details of their Instagram so you can pick out some samples so that we can send them to you.
Sweet, man. I'm looking for the CBD vape juice. That's what I like. I smoke my vape all the time, and it's hard to find that without paying $100 a damn bottle. So I'm trying to find the CBD vape, and I'll be awesome.
Hell yeah, man. We got you covered for sure. We'll get all your details and everything after the show. But thanks again, man. I don't want to keep you all night. I definitely want to have you on again before November if you're interested at all. That way we can talk some more about this build up for the fight, hopefully coming up in November. But again, thank you for coming on the show, man. I know it's probably late over there. Shoot, it's like probably 10 o'clock almost, yeah?
Yeah, it's getting there, but yeah, man, anytime y'all want to do another podcast, I'm down. Anybody out there who's worldwide, if you want to do a podcast with me, I'm not a hard guy to